up, everybody? It's Kiera here, Inject Faith Hope Club. I am so excited to announce that you can now catch me right here on Fire 716 Radio each and every Monday for Inject Mondays at 7 p.m. So go ahead and download the app and rock out with your girl. Again, that's each and every Monday at 7 p.m. Tune in and have a good time with us. Greetings. Welcome to Inject Mondays. It's me, Kiera here, and I got Big Frank with me.
Yep.
Before we get started, I just want to say, it's the month of July. The first 6 months of the year is over. Whatever happened these first 6 months has been rough. Just let it go. Just let it go. Push forward. Keep pressing towards the mark. And just believe that I'm telling y'all this, but I'm telling myself this as well because I do understand how hard it is. And sometimes you look back and like, what did I do this first 6 months? Like, and where did the first 6 months go? Like, it flew by, but it's over. It's whatever happened. What's gonna be is gonna be, and you just gotta keep going. You can't let it stop you. And just try to make the last 6 months the best 6 months of the year. We're getting closer to 2024, which sounds unreal because I remember when we was getting ready for like the 2000. And I remember it was like, oh, the world's gonna end in 2012, like all these things, and look where we are now, y'all. But yeah, just give it, just let it go. You can do better for the last 6 months, and that's my goal too. I'm telling myself that the next 6 months gonna be better than the last, and I just say it to myself every day. So just a little encouragement for y'all to do the same thing. The topic today is a clean slate. Just thinking about, I went to a water baptism yesterday, and watching everybody get baptized, it just kind of reminded me of when I got baptized. I got baptized, I just felt like I was clean. Like, I felt like, like it was a fresh, I don't know, like it was just something fresh for me. Like, I felt like everything was gone, and I had a do-over. Like, but then as I'm sitting there thinking about it today, I was like, God, every time I got you, I could do it over. I could start over. Like, every time I mess up, you let me redeem myself. You know what I'm saying? So it's not just this baptism that's going to make me have a clean slate. It's just literally me having the salvation and understanding how to repent. And so God's been giving me like words, right? Yeah. And I told you, like, every week or every other day, it might be a different word. And I'm just researching them, and I'm like, okay, what's this? But it's helping me to understand like what salvation is, like what repentance is. Like, he's making me go deep and explain all of those things to myself. Like, you don't need a clean slate. You got me. I am your clean slate.
Valid.
And I'm like, but at first I was confused by it. Like, so I could just start over because it's like, it's me. Like, but I know that that's my flesh. Like, well, God, I can't start over, but I'm more worried about how I feel than what you telling me.
Right. So when you start talking about baptism, the way that we used to teach it was baptism is an outward expression of an inward experience. And so definitely it's saying it is, I say this all the time, that God spends more time trying to convince you than you valid. So what water baptism does, it helps your minds to process what he's done, the death, the burial, the resurrection, and those things. But sometimes we think after you get baptized, you feel like I can tell the world Jesus is all. Then sometimes
like I was like,
no,
touch me.
Can't touch me.
You can't touch me.
And life happens again. Yeah, things come again, and you feel, oh, dang, I wouldn't need to get baptized. You don't necessarily get baptized again because you have access to God, right? And His mercies are new every day. Once again, we drag out.
That's a fact.
If this statement is true that every day his mercies are brand new, doesn't give you a right to live foul or do wrong, but you don't have to wear the shame or the guilt on your face. We no longer condemned to the yoke of bondage. You're not tied to sin anymore.
Right.
You're not there. So
I got a question, since you said you're not tied to sin anymore. So when I was doing my research, it said that once we get baptized and once we go through the process of salvation, we're no longer bonded to it, but it's like it still happens. You know what I'm saying?
For
so
sure.
Things like you said, life still happens, of course. But so I don't get that. Like, literally, like, so I'm not bonded to it. No, like I was. So like when I was in the world, it was an everyday thing.
Yeah.
As opposed to now, I feel like God gives you more of a conscience, number one, but like you feel it more too.
You have the power to overcome now,
right?
Versus before, where you were in it, there was no desire to get out of it. You was in it. I'm here. This is my vein.
I'm not changing. Yeah.
And now God says, now what I've done is now I'm giving you the access and the power that if you truly want to change, you can get out.
Right.
That you don't have to stay in this state of mind. You don't have to stay in this situation, but you have access through me to really get out. So I'm giving you a new slate already, but life happens. I know you're
That's
not
okay.
perfect, but I want you to understand that you're not tied to. You don't owe anybody. You don't have a responsibility to try to entertain anybody, to try to put in, try to
Right.
please. I'm your source. I'm your father. I'm your God. I'm your neighbor. I got you.
Everything.
So, and that is like, hey, yeah, sin might show up, but it's not going to have the same effect that it had on you before. So if you find yourself in sin, now I'm going to repent, God forgive me, wash me, because I'm pursuing better
right.
versus than just being in it, we sitting in it, we flipping in it.
We do it, we flipping it.
You know.
But that's valid. That's valid, because it just crossed my mind, like what was the difference when I was doing some research though. And then it also, when I was looking up baptism, it said, that baptism allows us to identify with Christ in the sense of him being buried, resurrected, and going forward. And I never really, I don't know if I didn't take a class. I know I did take a class, but maybe I just don't remember from it. But I just I was like, I never thought about it like that. Like I'm just thinking about how I feel as opposed, on the journey. Like I felt like it solidified our relationship. I felt like it showed me a different side. Like I know, like when I got baptized, I remember just being in the clouds. Like all I kept seeing was clouds in my head. I couldn't see nothing else, and I was like, God, I'm really walking on cloud nine. Like, and I was like, wow, how different, because before cloud nine was like me smoking a blunt, and and now here I am. And I just was like, God, I don't need to do all the things that I've been trying to do to get a clean slate. I already got it. And no matter how many times I need it, it's there, like in the middle of the night. And when I wake up in the morning, like it's literally not going nowhere. And I just thought that was so powerful. Like, because we do so many things, like even like going to the gym, like, I ain't go today, I'm gonna start fresh next week. Like, no, I could start tomorrow. It doesn't have to be next week. I don't have to prolong it. That's my thing. I've been we was talking about prolonging delay and stuff. I feel like I prolong everything. And that's just one thing I wish I could just like, all right, God, I need to do this, and I need to do it now.
Here you go talking. Okay. I might have a button called trigger words. Trigger words. What happens is, because now is the vein that he wants you to live in. Because God is now always. Because he stands outside of time. He's not limited to the time construct. To watch this. So you can sin at 2:00 and be washed and brand new at 2:01.
Say that again.
But the challenge is, do you believe this?
No, nobody ever does.
Nobody, because is there consequence to actions? Absolutely. But when you realize, you know what? I am flawed. Matter of fact, he knew I was flawed. He knew I was going to fall short. But guess what? For some reason, he still chose me. He selected me. He used me. He washes me. I'm obedient. Because when you look at the Bible and the text, let me just tell y'all 100%, these characters, crazy. Okay? All right, off grip. Name one, and I can tell you the flaws of them. But God still uses them. So
that's a fact. And then, that's what made me think about when you always say the catalyst of what brings me closer to God. But I just feel like now I'm understanding it more. Like I've been saved for 4 years, but I feel like right now is like when I finally like did the research. Truthfully, like I'm digging deep. Like, what does this stuff mean? And I'm actually trying to study, and I'm actually trying to just have that peace where I'm just tapping in with him. Like even in the middle of my day, sometimes I catch myself like, God, I don't know how I'm about to get through this day. Like these people at the job, like and I'm just like, wow. And then I'm refreshed, like literally in that moment. And I'm like, okay, so this is my clean slate for the third time today, but I'm using it. You know what I'm saying? I'm thankful for it.
Yeah, because we have it. And I think that sometimes we forget that we have it.
Yeah.
Because the enemy's tactic, like I told you, he uses guilt and shame to keep you in bondage, to keep you. Because when you feel bad, you don't think God can use you. You don't think God's going to bless you. You don't think you can operate in what he said do. So you get all downtrodden and being crying, and God is like, I know that you're sorry. I truly see the content of your heart.
Right.
And I know that you didn't want to be here, but you got here because there's some things you got to work on. But now that you're here and we're talking, let's go ahead and fix it and be open to me. Right. Two things I'm going to say. And because the Bible talks about the heart being deceitful and wicked above all things. I said, wait a minute, God. If it's that, but in the same token, you tell me to give you your heart. In other words, I want you to give me everything about you,
Wow.
both the good, the
And
bad,
bad.
and the. I want it all.
You're accepting all of me.
All I'm
Yes.
thinking because I'm going to help you navigate through this journey called life.
All
I'm
right.
going to take some things from you. I'm going to leave some things to humble you.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
going to change things, but I need you to give me everything. But as long as you try to handle it and
It's
you're
not
trying to work
working.
it out and
That's
you're
a
trying to
fact.
do it, that's why the slate don't feel clean when it
It
is.
is, yeah. That is valid because sometimes you be trying to handle it. I be trying to handle it myself, and I be like, God, I can't do this. Like, wait. I do need you. Can I tag you in? Like, let's
Right.
tag team this. But it do sometimes I see what you're saying when you try to just be like, all right, I got this. Like, but I don't
I
got this.
don't.
Like, literally at this month of July, I'm just like, God, I need a fresh start. And I'm like, I kept saying like, I feel like it's coming, but I also felt like in a sense it was me going backwards instead of
Mhm.
me going forward. And he was like, it's not going backwards. You're a different person. This is a different time. This is a different situation.
Absolutely.
And I'm like, say that again, like because it's hard to see it like that. Sometimes
Mhm.
I felt like it was a failure move at
Valid.
first.
So
Like
understand. Based on what I told you before we got on here, people will process the decision to lose a thing as a setback. And I said to my pastor, I said, you can see it that way. But there's a season of development that's required
right
here. Um, and I understand it, but I'm not in the same season I was before. But
right.
as I look at the parallel, that season produced who I am today.
Exactly.
So that means that this moment with the catalyst that got me here, or whatever it is getting ready to produce the next phase
Right.
of my life. And I'm gonna pause here while I'm talking good because you lose things along the way, that doesn't mean that you're less anointed, you're less called, you're less valuable.
Right.
Because you've fallen short and made a mistake, don't mean like you just disqualified. God said, listen, pick up your bed and walk. I
That's a
mean,
fact. And literally, that's what he did.
Like,
It's at my mama's house. But
like for
it
sure.
is, and it's like I had to hear somebody else say that for me to realize it because, again, I was feeling like a failure. Like I got kids, but then I'm like, this is a grandma, like like they enjoying every second of
Absolutely.
being with grandma, and she's enjoying it too in a way. So
Bro.
if she's listening to it, we know she's enjoying it. But it's hard when you in it to see it. Sometimes you have to be out of it to see it.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's teaching me to take my flesh out because I've been doing my research again and
Mhm.
learning about the flesh versus the spirit. And our
Absolutely.
flesh, yes, our flesh feels everything, but it's up to us to take our flesh out of it. And
No, yeah.
and I was just telling you about that with men versus women and how men are so nonchalant and women be over here like going crazy. Like,
Mhm.
and I'm like, God, you got it. Like the
Yeah.
first, like I said, the first 6 months, God got it. It's done. It's
It's
over.
over,
It's
yeah.
is gone. And
And what happens is because the Bible talks about the spirit reveals all things.
all things.
So the spirit will give you answers. You may not like them all the time,
Never do.
but they will give you answers to the situation
Right.
while your flesh is still trying to process because the flesh can't comprehend what you're talking about.
No, right.
For example, I knew I was leaving the apartment that we were in, moving into my father's house 4 or 6 months beforehand.
Wow.
But we didn't want to. This is not where we wanted to be,
Until,
Jehovah.
right.
But I already knew. So when the opportunity came and we had to move, I knew exactly where I was going because the Spirit had already told
you.
me
Right.
that that's what it is. And I think that's the importance when you have a clean slate is because when sin comes in, it begins to cloudy up the slate.
Absolutely.
Not saying that the slate ain't clean, but
it's
you
just
can't.
you foggy.
You feel foggy. You can't see it. You can't.
Mhm.
I don't know what's happening. I don't know
God,
what's going on.
I'm like, God, you sure you still there? Like I can't
No,
see.
valid.
Like, and that's real. And it's like the sin part of it is what, like, I'm not gonna say the sin, but like your mind versus your heart.
Valid.
Like your mind, your flesh wants to do this. Your mind is like, I shouldn't even be here. Like, and I was like, that's a battle for a lot of people in itself. Some people go out and don't want to be there, but because everybody else is
Because
doing
that's
it,
what
that's
it's
where I
about.
gotta be. I gotta
The-
be on the scene. Like, and it's like people don't want to change. Like
yeah.
I remember when I was like getting close to getting out of the world, I was drinking, partying, and it came to a point where one night I can't even tell you how many drinks I had, but I remember when I got ready to go to bed, I didn't feel a thing. I was sober, like, and I was like, "What does this mean? Like, what
Yeah.
is this? Like,
Yeah.
And I was
Yeah.
like, my life is different. Like, I'm not. This is not who I am no more.
Absolutely.
But how many people got the conscience to literally say that to themselves and then try to figure out what
That
that feeling is.
that's the scripture that says the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. My
Mm.
spirit wants to do right, but I keep finding myself doing the things because nobody talks about the fact that the body has memory.
Yeah.
The body has habits that, okay, granted, you just got saved, you've been washed in your blood, or you're brand new.
Right.
The body has memory of where it's been, what it's been a part of, but it also have habits that's been created where you'll find yourself doing things out of habit. But the
As
spirit is like,
opposed to
no, that's not what we want
what
to
we
do. But
do.
how did I get here anyway? Like,
Right.
I know that this isn't it. I know that this is exhausting. I'm gonna feel bad afterwards, but for some reason,
Right.
I keep finding myself here. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. The flesh is. I'm trying to lead the flesh with the spirit, and it ain't doing. It ain't doing.
It ain't
And
doing it.
that's where fasting and praying and those things come, because it's a level of discipline that's required. A level of, all right, you don't. My body. Now this can be real deep, and I'm not trying to go too far. My body, I have to take the power back. You don't dictate to me what it is.
I dictate to you.
I dictate to you what it is.
That's a fact.
Now you take that same mindset and you apply it to your habits, your lifestyle, your living. You stop telling me, no, you're not in pain. You're healed.
Right.
No, you're not this. You're that. No, you don't have to eat that. You're not hungry.
Right.
Instead of you allowing the body to tell you what it's going to do, you have to reverse that. And it takes a consciousness. It's consciousness. Like people getting the same get scared. And so
Right.
consciousness. It takes you to be intentional
No, right.
and on purpose. And I think that sometimes as believers, we're not intentional.
Yeah. No.
Like, I'm going to purposely not do this because this yields 1, 2, and 3.
Right.
The body says, "Oh, let's go do this." No, I'm not. And that's really a process. So.
Yeah, and then too, you hit a trigger for me. Discipline. I just don't think I got it. Like I just don't think. I'm not gonna say I don't think I got it, but I just feel like I haven't tapped into what I can tap into. You know, like, and it's like you'll be like, all right, yeah, I'm gonna go study. I'm gonna spend time with God. I'm gonna do my 30 minutes tonight and 30 minutes in the morning, 5 a.m. But then something happens and throw everything off, and you're like, all right, well, maybe tomorrow I'll start fresh tomorrow. And it's like constantly just trying to do that. And I feel like if I was more disciplined, getting to that clean slate wouldn't be so complicated as it is.
And discipline is a process. And you talking to the one for disciplinary action for the lack of discipline. Okay. Because what happens is it is a process. And I think we don't think we have it until we are put in the place where we have to use it. Right. One of the things that my pastor said to me recently, how desperate are you for this? And desperation, or y'all ain't gonna like me for this one, or sin, or a situation will put you in a place where you feel like, oh, I have to do something different.
Right. That's a fact.
To yield a different result. And that's where discipline is developed. I used to ask this question, like, God, how do you develop discipline? Like, how do you get it?
Literally.
That's
my question right now, because like, I don't have it.
Like, what's the cheat code, God? Right. I don't know.
Like, yeah, it's like some days I'm great at it, and some days I'm like, all right, I'm all over the place, God. Like, what am I doing?
Because it requires it takes, I'm gonna say, 21 days to change a habit.
Wow.
So it takes you got to consistently, you got to have a plan.
Yeah.
Right. Here we go. I'm preaching part 2. It's fresh deposit. Write the vision, make it plain that they that see can run with it. But when you begin to write the vision, you can read it.
That's a fact.
So I don't care what's going on or what's happening. What does the vision say?
Right.
Sometimes the feelings change. Oh, I don't feel like I said. Well, what does the vision say?
The vision says I can do it.
I can do it.
The vision says, how bad do you want it? And the vision says, truthfully, like, being out there and even sinning and like trying to get back. This was the first time in my life where I felt like I had something to lose.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like I was scared to lose God. Like for the first time ever, I was like, I got kids and I never, you always be like, well, I got kids, I can't lose me.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I was more concerned about me for once. Like I'm not losing God. Nothing's worth that.
Right.
Nothing's worth everything that I have already right now. Nothing's worth knowing that I can have that peace, that joy, that love unconditionally. Sure. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because he is my problem solver. He's like literally the person I'm going to for everything. So if I lose that, then what? Yeah. Like that's what really like tried to change my discipline around. And honestly, that's what really made me like be like, yo, I need help. You know, like I can't do this by myself. Like, so
Absolutely.
now it's a different catalyst to me reaching out. Like, yeah, I've been messing up, and I need you right now, you know. And I was like, at first I was like, nah, I don't. I got this. Like, you
Mhm.
know. But then I'm like, no, I don't.
I
You know,
don't.
I
I
don't got
don't.
it. And I'm like, but I want it. Like, I just wanted a fresh start, just
Mhm.
something that, just to wipe me clean. Like, you know, and I know nothing makes the past go away, like all the things that we did. But
Mhm.
I'm not worried about that stuff. Like, believe it or not, I'm not even thinking about it. I'm just like,
So one
thank
thing,
you.
I preached a message one time, and I said, "You got the right to forget,
Oh, that's a fact.
because forgetting those things which were behind you and pressing towards, what's in front of you." But if that's truly the case, and my slate is new every day. What happened earlier?
Right,
I don't
right.
recall.
That's a
So
fact.
when the enemy attempts to remind you of a time that it was past tense, I'm not. I'm
You're
not who
not
I
there
was yesterday. I'm not.
yesterday.
I'm not who I was this morning. What you talking
Right.
about?
So don't bring
So,
that up.
so valid. And I think that knowing, I prayed this on Sunday. The church. I'm quoting it wrong. Feel free to check me. Suffers violence, but the violence taken by force. We are the violence.
Yeah.
We are the authority. We are the force. We are the energy. And it's not, oh, Satan's going to attack us. Oh, we got to defend ourselves. It's no, you don't have. You're not welcome here.
Right.
We are the level of defense. And we have to apply that to our life. That you
Right.
have that. You have power. After that the Holy Ghost has come upon you.
Mm-hmm.
You can speak to a situation and it turns.
Right.
Life and death are in the power of your tongue.
Right.
You have the faith of the grain of a mustard seed. It sounds real churchy. And cause yonder's mountain to be removed. He didn't say I have. You got it.
That's a fact. He gave it to
He
us.
gave it to you. And I think that, but as long as the enemy can use the issues of life and the challenges and sin and some things are not always sinful, these are not expedient,
Right.
but he can use some things against you to keep you held up and in bondage.
That's a fact.
And you don't have to be.
Right.
People are in prison cells with doors open
That's a fact.
because you're accustomed to being here.
That's a fact. And two, like you said, it keeps you down because it's like some people can't even see the difference in you once you get out of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Some people are constantly like wishing bad on you. And then I had my first comment to me talking about people with God don't move like you move. And I was like, what? Like, you know, and it took a lot for me not to respond because
Mhm.
the old me would have responded, trust me. But you know, it's just like people think that we on this journey and we just got everything figured out. Like,
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, we still human. We still trying too.
Not only that, the illusion that they have about this journey, I get the idea of it. And
Right.
I get it. Holiness is right. Period.
Period.
Living proper is love him. Be set aside. Be different. But you've put me inside a box that he doesn't require me to live in.
And that's a fact. Not at
Like
all.
you put me inside this limitation in your mind. That as a believer, I don't move. I don't move. What are you talking about? Have you not
Right.
seen it? He was cussing and cutting, and God called him the apostle. What are you talking about?
That's a fact.
Like we have people some foot soldiers, people who moved and
Mhm.
did some stuff that for real, you don't want. You need to read the book.
That's a fact. That's
You know,
true.
so
So yeah, well yeah, it's 7:30, guys. I apologize, but you know, I just want to say, you know, it's a clean slate, man. I appreciate Big Frank for doing this with me, but I just feel like this new start for me makes me feel like I can do anything.
absolutely,
I feel like it's it's not going backwards. I know that I was going forwards and pressing towards the things that God got planned for me,
yeah.
and if I feel like if anything, it's only gonna help make it better. So it's okay to just wipe things clean, you know. You start writing a paper, you erase it how many times before you actually keep going with what
Yeah.
you want to say. So don't be afraid to start over. Don't be able to start fresh. And God gives us the opportunity to do it daily, hourly, minutely, however we need to do
Mhm.
it to get it done. Any last words for everybody?
Not any last word. It was just go ahead and do it. Um, just go ahead and do it. You don't know what the outcome is going to be. Sometimes we project failure
Mm-hmm.
based off the past,
That's a fact.
and stop,
Yeah.
stop, stop.
Because if it was based off the past, I wouldn't even be
Come
here,
on,
baby.
that's
I would
listen. If it
not.
was based off the
Yes,
past,
God would have never saved me. Truthfully.
y'all would have been like, "Oh, he is not the man of God. he can't
Yeah,
be.
listen, man.
He can't be."
But
no,
God got us
no, for sure.
always and forever. That's infinite for real. And Jack, faith, hope, love, man. We love y'all. Stay blessed, and we see y'all next week.